There is a scene that is repeated in millions of American homes every day, and almost no one comments on it. It's Tuesday, 3 in the afternoon. The Amazon truck pulls up in front of the house. The driver leaves 2 boxes on the balcony, and inside, someone in their 60s opens the door, picks up the boxes, and for a second, he feels a small wave of joy, like a child on his birthday. Then the first box opens, a mango peeler. You don't even like mango that much. The second one opens, a small device that promises to remove nose hair with Japanese technology, and you stand there in the kitchen holding these 2 things, and for half a second, a very quick thought goes through your head. Why did I buy this? And then the thought disappears. You keep the peeler in the drawer along with the other 7 peelers. He puts the nose device on a shelf in the bathroom where he will live for the next 4 years without being used once, and he goes on with his day, as if nothing had happened. But something happened. Something has been going on for months, maybe years ago. And today we're going to talk about what it is exactly. Because the subject of this video is not what you buy. It's what you're really trying to buy when you hit that button. And I'll let you know right away. The answer will surprise you. It might even bother you a little. But if you stick with me until the end, I promise you'll never look at an Amazon box the same way again. Before continuing, if you're someone who values honest conversations about retirement and purposeful living, subscribe to the channel. This is a space for those who have reached a stage in life where thinking clearly is worth more than any promotion. Now let's go. I'll start with one thing that no financial advisor will tell you. The biggest threat to the tranquility of an American retiree is not inflation. It's not the bag. It's not even the cost of the health plan, as serious as that is. The biggest threat is a quieter thing. It's that invisible drip. $20 there, $40 here, $120 last week that you don't even remember what it was. No purchase seems absurd on its own. That's the trick. Emotional spending does not wear emotional spending clothes. He dresses up as deserving, an unmissable promotion, a little gift for myself. And at the end of a year, adding it all up, you take a trip to Europe that you didn't even take. But the real question is another. Where did that money go? Not on the statement. In the real world. Look around your house now. How many things have you bought in the last 2 years that you have used, let's say, more than 5 times? And how many are there, standing there, pretending that they are still useful? The American garage has become a kind of private museum, a museum of abandoned ambitions. He has the very expensive bike bought at the height of the enthusiasm of exercising, today hanging from a hook with a flat tire. There is the set of woodworking tools that was going to be used to build a table that never got off the ground. There is the mat that became a hanger. There are closed boxes of things bought in 2019. Some still have plastic, and everyone knows someone like that. Maybe you're smiling right now because you know this person so closely. And then the question arises that no one wants to ask out loud. If I don't use these things, why do I keep buying? And look, the honest answer hurts a little, because it's not about things. It never was. The purchase is just the visible tip of an emotional iceberg that has been growing in silence since the day you retired. Let me show you how it works. For 40, 50 years, his days had formed. Alarm clock, traffic, meetings, deadlines, problems to solve, people calling you, people needing you. And then, on a Friday afternoon, all this simply, 2. They talk about retirement as if it were a long vacation. No one tells you about Tuesday mornings when you have nothing on your agenda, nothing urgent, nothing pulling you, just you, the coffee, and a silence that seems a little too big for the kitchen. In this silence, a strange sensation appears. It's not exactly sadness. It's more of a low hum, a restlessness. That feeling that you should be doing something but you have nothing else to do. And then, without even realizing it, his hand picks up his cell phone. Open the app. And that's it. You have a small project, a choice to make, something to wait for. For 20 minutes, your brain has purpose again. And here's the trick. The pleasure is not in the purchase. You're waiting. It's the same thing that happens to those who go to the casino. Each click on the buy now releases a small dose of dopamine, not for the product, by hunting, by choice, by will it arrive tomorrow or only Thursday. That's why the box, when it arrives, disappoints a little. You open it, look, and think, was that all? It was. It was always just that. The party was over the second you pressed the button. And your brain, smart as it is, already knows what to do next. Look for the next thing to wait. Not because you are weak, not because you're silly, because you're human, and your nervous system is doing exactly what it was designed to do. But boredom is only the first layer. Underneath it, there is something heavier, harder to admit out loud. Loneliness. Not the dramatic solitude of a movie. The other. The silent one. The one that appears when your husband is in the other room watching television. Your children are so busy with their lives. Your friends have moved to another city or have already left this world. And the phone simply does not ring as much as it did before. When human connection becomes rarefied, the brain looks for a substitute. And consumer culture has spent 100 years perfecting itself to be exactly that substitute. The friendly QVC presenter who seems to be talking only to you. The UPS driver waving from the pickup truck. Amazon's notification saying your package arrives today with almost the same warmth as a friend texting. These are tiny doses of Pseudo-Company. They don't really fill the void, but you can disguise it for a few hours. And look, I'll be honest with you. There are people who have been using shopping as a substitute for presents for so long that they have forgotten what it is like to be a real gift. Think about it for a second. When was the last time you felt really seen by someone else? Not answered, not served. Visa. If this question bothered you a little, that's no problem. That's honesty. And that's exactly where everything starts to change. It also has a third layer. And this is the most delicate. It's the question of who you are now that you're no longer what you used to be. For decades, when someone asked you, "What do?" you had an answer. Teacher, nurse, engineer, manager, owner of his own business. That wasn't just a job. It was a place in the world, a way of existing in conversations. A quick way to say, I matter. Here comes retirement. And the answer becomes, I am retired. 3 words that, for many people, sound less like an achievement and more like a silent farewell. And the mind, smart as ever, begins to look for other ways to say, I still exist. Other ways to show that you still have taste, which still has a pattern. Who is still someone? And guess what's the easiest, fastest, most socially accepted way to do it? The new car that says, I'm not done yet. The bag that says, I still have style. The new set of golf clubs that says, I take it seriously. The kitchen makeover that says, I still build things. None of these purchases are bad. None. The question is another. Are you buying the object, or are you buying the identity that the object promises to return? Because there's a truth here that hurts a little. No object can give you back an identity that you have already passed. He only rents the sensation for a little while, and then the rent is due again, and again, and again. That's why there are retirees, even well-to-do people, living on a shopping conveyor belt that never stops. Each new acquisition is a small attempt to answer a question that no one can answer. There is also the close cousin of this behavior, that phrase that every American has said out loud with absolute conviction. I deserve this. I deserve it. 4 words that have already justified more unnecessary purchases than any television commercial. And do you know why they work so well? Because they are true. You deserve good things. You worked hard. You gave up a lot for a lot of people, for a long time. But notice one detail. I deserve this almost never comes up when you're happy. It shows up when you're tired, frustrated, a little down. It's not a sentence about what you deserve. It's a sentence about what's missing now. It's your mind trying to balance the scales with credit card. And the problem is that this balance is never balanced because it was never about money. And then the other great invisible engine appears, the desire to feel young again. Look, this is not vanity. It's not nonsense. It's human. Every new wrinkle, every pain that appears for no reason, every doctor's appointment that lasts longer than before, is a small reminder that time doesn't come back. And the mind, naturally, looks for a way to push that reminder a little further. Sometimes it's a gym membership. Sometimes it's an expensive cream. Sometimes it's the convertible you've always wanted. Sometimes it's one of those outfits that would look better on your youngest child. None of this is shameful. Wanting to feel alive is one of the most beautiful things that exist. But there's a difference between investing in your vitality and trying to buy a version of yourself that no longer lives in that body. The first gives you energy. The second tires you because the goal is impossible. You can't buy a ticket back in time. And, deep down, you know. That's why the excitement of these purchases fades faster than the others. If this conversation is making sense so far, do me a favor. Leave a comment below with just one word. A word that describes what you're normally trying to fill in when you go to buy something without having to. Boredom, loneliness, stress, identity, saudade, whatever. You can't imagine the clarity that comes from just naming it out loud. And take the opportunity to leave a like on the video. It helps many more people of our generation to find this conversation. Now let's go a little deeper. It has one more layer, and this is perhaps the most stubborn of all. Social comparison. You would swear that after 65 this passes, right? That at this age no one cares what the neighbor is doing anymore. But the comparison does not go away. She only changes her clothes. Before, it was about which child passed in which college. Now it's about which grandson visits the most. About which retirement she seems most excited about on Facebook. About the photos of the couple's cruise from the church, which appeared on Sunday with that discreet caption, "Blessed." And you're there, in your living room, looking at that photo, and you think, wow, it's been a long time since we traveled. And in 3 days, without even realizing it, you're researching a package to Alaska. Not because you've always dreamed of Alaska, but because something in that couple's photo moved you. And the fastest way not to be left behind. It is spending. Here's a question worth sitting with for a while. If no one could ever see what you buy, if your purchases were totally invisible to every human being on the planet, how much of what you bought in the last year would you still have bought? For most of us, the honest answer is uncomfortable. And it's no reason to be ashamed. It's a reason to wake up. Now, I need to make one thing very clear. None of this here is an argument for you to become a miser. Nothing. Money saved until the day you die is not wisdom. It's just another kind of life not lived. Taking advantage of money is not the problem. Using money to feel things you could feel without spending a dime. Therein lies the problem. And the difference between the two is simpler than it seems. Enjoy buying a bottle of wine to share with a friend that you will actually see this week. Running away is buying a whole box because the house is too quiet. To enjoy it is to mark the trip you have dreamed of for 30 years. To run away is to book a trip because everyone on Facebook is traveling. To enjoy it is to invest in a hobby that lights you up inside. To run away is to buy all the hobby equipment to abandon in 3 weeks, because the equipment was never the point. The purchase was. The difference is not in the price. It's not in the object. It's in what you feel before pressing the button. One comes from within, full. The other comes from within, empty. And only you, in your silence, know how to differentiate one from the other. So what to do with all this? It is not a rule. It is not a budgeting app. It is not a spreadsheet. It's a simpler thing and more difficult. It's starting to pay attention. The next time your hand picks up your phone in that quiet 3 o'clock in the afternoon, 60 seconds. That's all. And he asks a question. Not, what I want to buy. The other. What am I feeling right now? Maybe it's boredom. Maybe loneliness. Maybe that soft mourning for a version of yourself that was left behind. Maybe it's just the strangeness of having more time than you know what to do. Whatever it is, it gives it a name. Out loud if you need to. Because naming a feeling is the first step to not having to medicate it with a credit card. And then, after naming, you get options that you didn't have a minute ago. You can call someone. You can take a walk around the block. You can sit on the porch and do absolutely nothing and let the feeling pass, the way the feeling passes when you stop running away from it. You can take that book that has been on the bedside table for 2 years. You can write the letter to your grandson. You can pick up the phone and call your friend who has been due back since July. Or sometimes you can decide, yes, I'm going to buy that. Not because I'm running away from something, but because I thought, I felt, I looked inside, and this purchase fits into the life I want to live. This type of spending has a different flavor. It comes clean. It comes without that residue of regret an hour later, when the box is already open and the excitement has already evaporated. And this is the financial piece that no one teaches. It's not a mountain of money. It's not a perfect spreadsheet. It is an honest relationship with your own feelings, so that money becomes a tool again, instead of a curative. Imagine waking up next Tuesday and not feeling that pull. No need to fill the silence with packets. Just be well with the morning, with coffee, with the slow passing of the day. This is not giving up. That's wealth, the real wealth, the one that no one can sell you because it has never been for sale. There's one thing that the happiest Americans in retirement, the ones who seem genuinely at peace, have in common, and it is not the size of the savings. It's something else. The less they needed to buy to feel good, the freer they were. That's it. It's not a pretty phrase. It is an observation. There are people with 2 million in the bank who are still unhappy, buying things every week. And there are people with much less who discovered something very simple in their 70s, that the good life does not fit in a cardboard box. You've spent decades building a life. He paid every dollar with hours that do not come back. And you earned the right to something else too, the right to stop performing, to stop tasting, to simply exist without needing anything new to confirm that you still matter. Because you matter. It has always mattered, long before the packages started arriving, long before anyone is looking. If this conversation touched on something in there, do me one last favor. Leave a comment telling which part was the one that hit the most. Your honesty might be just what someone else needs to read tonight. Leave a like on the video to help more people get here. And if you want to continue walking with me in this conversation, the video that is appearing on your screen now goes even deeper into the silent habits that bring real peace after 60. I'll be waiting for you on the other side. Until then, take care.